What's going on, guys? My name is Brandon. If you're anything like me, you've probably got your fair share of Harbor Freight tools. Well, I have a Harbor Freight tool hack that is too good not to share. Let me show it to you. These are just your standard socket rails that you'd buy at Harbor Freight. Obviously, if you go there, you know what I'm talking about. They hang up on those hooks. Well, you can't really reuse these because they come off hard and they don't fit well in a toolbox. Well, I'm going to show you a way that you can actually use this as a socket rail, and it works awesome. To give you an idea what I'm talking about, this is what I do with all my tools. As you can see there, and this socket bar here, they work awesome. Let me show you how I did it. So one of the first things you're going to do is just leave a little gap on your socket and then push them all together. Okay, just like that, so that they're all touching. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to cut it right here, about a 1/2 inch past your last one and a 1/2 inch past that one. And I'm just using a finished wood saw. So now you're left with kind of a ratty edge right there. You can just take a piece of sandpaper and sand that down, or a file, whichever you choose. I'm just going to use a file. So now you're left with this, but the only problem is that now your sockets can fall off, just like that, because that's what these did, they held it on. So what you're going to do is grab yourself some 5-inch cable ties from Harbor Freight while you're there. Find a drill bit that's just a little bit wider than the cable tie. And what you're going to want to do, you're going to drill a hole right there, and that's going to prevent the sockets from coming off. Now, take your cable tie, stick it through the hole, and attach it back to itself. And you can see now, the socket can't come off. Now just trim off the excess, do the same thing on the other side. Now your sockets cannot come off, slide off the rail. But now the real issue is that these are made like this in the store because they're tamper-proof. They're almost impossible to get off, and they do it that way so that people in the store don't steal it. So what you want to do now is take all your sockets off this socket rail. And sometimes you actually need tools to pull them off. And like I said, they do this. It's a feature of these so that people don't, steal the sockets in the store. There. Now if you look at this closely, you'll see that this little band right here, all the way across, that's what's actually keeping these sockets held firmly onto this pivot. Well, what you're going to do is take a sharp utility blade on your utility knife and trim it off. Take that off all the way around, and it only takes a second. You can take it off in like 4 or 5 spots. You don't have to get it perfect, and I would advise you don't get it perfect, because if you take off too much, then the socket gets a little sloppier than you probably want it. So take your knife and just shave that off. I'll show you how I do it. Only takes probably a minute to do one of these. All you're doing is you're just cutting it off, just like that. Just whittling it off. And that's what it looks like right there. So you put it on, listen to it snap. Snaps into place. That's not coming off. And it only takes a little bit of force to pull it apart. Before, we had to use pliers. So it just snaps on, that's not going anywhere. Pull that off. That's why you leave a little bit of that material there. Pretty slick, huh? We'll do that to the rest of these and put it back together. If you have one that fits a little dry, you can always go back and tune it up a little bit. There we are, guys. Check that out. And it works just like a regular socket rail without having to buy one. And that's my quick tip of the day, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Saving money. Who doesn't like that? New videos every week. See ya.